Hi everyone, and welcome to my new channel that I've created. What I've established here on my suburban farm, if you want to call it, I'm trying to establish a perennial food forest, no dig, organic, all of that stuff that you hear about, and I'm trying to create this sort of food forest around my house, and to help to be more sustainable, to be able to provide food for my family, to not have to rely on all the stuff that you get at the store. And I started this journey, I guess, about 2 years ago. So this was my second full summer that I had doing this. And it's exciting. It's a journey. I've learned a lot since I started, and I just want to document every step of the way, and I want you to see what I've been doing. I am by no means an expert in what I'm doing. It's just something I'm learning and I think is important. And if you can kind of see what I'm doing and that excites you and makes you want to do it, then I've sort of done my job. But I just want to document the whole process of what I'm going through, starting from right now. Later on, I'm gonna upload some videos and some photos of kind of building it and when I originally started. But again, I'm in the I just finished the second summer. We're in September, so here's the tour. Today I'm going to begin my tour with my backyard, which is going to be my grapes. So there are two different type of grapes here. I don't remember which type that they are. I know that I got them from Home Depot. You can see I installed this trellis here, which is holding them really nice. The first year I planted them, I really didn't get hardly any growth at all. A few little twigs coming out. But this year has really exploded. I definitely did not get any grapes. I'm really hoping that I'll get them next year, but a lot of growth here. So you can even see how it's really grown all the way up through here. I mean, these are some really nice vines. All of this is brand new growth just from this year. So this is my red Bartlett pear tree. It's in it. I planted it 1 year ago, so it's in its second year since been planted. We are in just the beginning of September. I only got 2 pears this year, so I'm pretty excited. I think they're getting pretty close. You can see them right here. They're a real nice red, a little bit of a greenish yellow color to them, but they look really nice, and I'm really real excited when they'll be ready pretty soon. This is my 5-in-1 Asian pear tree. Got one little lone pear that I got this year. This also is in its second year. Didn't get anything last year, just kind of grew. Hopefully next year I'll get a lot more. But this is one nice lone pear. That particular variety is 20th Century Asian Pear. And again, I didn't get any off any of the other ones, but hopefully next year I do. So this is my 5-in-1 apple tree. Again, also in its second year like the other trees. I was only able to get fruiting this year off of one particular branch, which was the Liberty apple. The other ones didn't fruit. Hopefully next year we'll be able to get some fruit from this tree. They do look really nice. Nice red blush. Really good looking apples. So this right here is it's a Gala apple tree, and this is also in its second year. Last year when I planted it, I was able to did get lots of fruit, lots of small fruit. But I mean, it was very productive, but they were very small and didn't have a lot of great flavor. But this year, I think it spent a lot of its energy producing its roots, and so I didn't get any fruit this year. Didn't even flower. So hopefully next year we'll be able to get a lot of fruit from it. this was actually growing right up, right up the center, and it was going to get kind of big. So I kind of wanted to shape it a little bit better. So what I did is I actually cut it from the center, left these branches here, so I can just kind of prune it to a little bit better shape, something that I wanted. Right over here, these are actually my scarlet runner beans, and you know, we're in zone 8B here, and I'm hoping that I can establish them as perennials. So let me take a little bit closer look. So I built this teepee out of some poles that I got from Home Depot, but you can see how they've really climbed nicely all up this pole right here, and they look really pretty. You know, so I'm really hoping that we'll see how they, you know, I'll probably cut them back during the winter, which is, you know, right around the corner here in a couple months, and we'll kind of see what happens. But it'd be great if I was able to establish them as a perennial. So this tree right here is my Pakistan mulberry tree. It got it got attacked quite a bit when I first planted it by some slugs and snails. So it grew, but it didn't grow super well this year. But now that you know we're in September, and I don't really have a lot of slug and snail problems right now, and it started to grow a little bit again. But I'm hoping next year we'll be able to get a lot more growth. Let me show you a little bit closer. So these bottom leaves right here, they're growing really nice, but towards the middle, and I got these branches really didn't grow well. A lot of the leaves were eaten by slugs and snails. A little bit of good top growth right here, but again, just didn't get as much growth as I would have liked to get this year. So right here, this is my row of raspberries, and I also have 3 fruit trees planted. So this one right here actually is my this is the flavor grenade pluot. So I just planted these in this year, in the spring, and didn't get any fruit. Didn't expect to. But it's put on a lot of growth, so pretty happy about that. This here is just a standard peach tree that I got from Home Depot. And first year I planted it, I actually got a lot of, I mean, there were 75, 80 fruits on it. They all died and got peach leaf curl. So, and I tried to manage it, and it just kept coming back. And you know, early in this spring, it came back with the curl again. So I decided just to chop the top off of it. So right in here, I actually, you know, chopped the top off of it, and all of this new growth came back throughout the summer. So hopefully the leaf curl is gone, and we'll see what happens next year. So this fruit tree right here is, I'm pretty excited about it. It's got a cool name. It's a atomic red double nectarine. So supposedly the flowers will get really bright red in the springtime. So I'm really excited to be able to see that. Of course, you know, I planted this one this year in the spring, so I didn't get any fruit this year. But again, it's like the other ones. It's put on a lot of really nice growth. So we'll see if we get any fruit next year. If we don't, that's okay. But you know, hopefully it should be a really beautiful tree. Here's my raspberry patch. I planted this patch in the springtime, so I've got a little bit of growth, not too much. These first raspberries right here are the and yellow raspberries. The next ones there are double gold. The ones next to those are the crimson night raspberries. And then at the beginning right over there, we got some black raspberries that I don't know exactly what the variety is. I bought them off of eBay. So didn't get a ton of growth this year. Not sure why. But hopefully, you know, once the roots get established next year in the spring, we'll see a lot of new growth popping up. This is my huckleberry plant. Planted in the spring. Got a lot of new growth on it. Didn't get any fruit. It started to, but a little bit of them, the ones that flowered, they started to fruit and then they died. So I'm sure they were just establishing their root system. But it's a very beautiful little shrub. evergreen. So we'll see you next year. Now what I want to do is actually give you a tour of my front yard garden. So this is my persimmon tree that I planted 1 year ago. I haven't got any fruit yet from it, but supposedly it takes a few years to actually get some fruit. It's a beautiful tree. It's really established, good, seems like a good root system. Had lots of vegetative growth this year, like I said, but no actual fruit. But you can see here the leaves look real nice. A real beautiful tree. For some reason, this particular limb kind of died. I'm not sure why. But the rest of the tree looks really good. So I planted Jerusalem artichokes for the first time this year. First time I had ever eaten one. I tried it before I actually planted them, so tasted pretty good, so I thought I'd give them a try. They have grown really nicely, and so supposedly we're supposed to be harvesting them after the first frost, so they're just going to stay in the ground. I think they're probably at least 9 feet tall at this point. Let me show you. So I planted them in, they were actually old drawers that I found in my attic that I repurposed. But you can see they've really taken off real nice and tall, so that should be pretty cool when we harvest them here in a couple months. This is my sour cherry tree. 2 years old. Got some harvest this year. I probably harvested 40, 50 cherries. It's growing very nice. Next year we should get quite a bit more. Down here I have a sweet bush cherry, and then behind it I transplanted some raspberries from the side garden. This is my sweet cherry. I don't know the exact variety. It's losing a lot of leaves now that it's September, but we probably got 40, 50 sweet cherries from it this year. It's also 2 years old. Here we have another sweet bush cherry. Haven't got any fruit from it, just planted it in the spring, but it has really produced quite a bit of leaves, so that should be fun. This is my plum tree. It's been in the ground 2 years. Have not got any fruit from it yet. It flowers, it fruits, and then they all die. Hopefully next year we'll be able to actually get some. This supposedly is a 5-in-1 stone fruit tree. It was just a little twig when I got it in the spring. That's all new growth. We'll see what we get next year. Along this fence that I just put up, I actually planted quite a bit of new thornless blackberries, primocane fruiting blackberries. They really didn't grow hardly at all this year. I'm not sure why. Hopefully we get some nice new canes popping up next spring, but I planted them all along this fence line, so we will see what happens. This here is a brown turkey fig. It was very small when I planted it, so but it's got a lot of new growth. Still small. Pretty excited about that. This here is my Chicago hardy fig. A little bit of growth on top, but it hasn't done too much. But again, just planted them in the spring, so they've really only had the spring and summer to grow. Let's see what happens. So this is my little, it's a little black mulberry tree slash bush, I guess. I planted it this year, but I think it was a fairly established tree when I got it, so it produced quite a bit of mulberries this year, and it was the first time I had ever eaten a mulberry, and they tasted pretty darn good. So I'm really excited about that. It hasn't really grown too much, but it really produced quite a bit of mulberries, and so I'm excited for the future of these. So this is my jujube or jujube, however you want to call it, tree. I bought it real late in spring, almost early summer, so it really didn't grow too much. I got a little bit of growth on it, Hopefully it makes it through the winter, but I've never eaten one of these. I just thought it looked kind of cool. I think they called it a Chinese date, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a beautiful little tree, but like I said, I don't know if I planted it a little bit too late. Maybe that's why I didn't get too much growth, but we'll see what happens. This is a Columbia giant blackberry. Supposedly it's a very large blackberry. Really didn't get hardly any growth this year, so we'll see what happens. Seems like it's kind of trailing, but we'll find out. So I planted this white blackberry. I think it's called it was a snowbank blackberry, and it's pretty small. Really didn't grow hardly at all, so I'm not sure what it's going to do, but should be exciting. Never had a white blackberry before. Here is my triple crown blackberry. Just planted in the spring. Looks nice. I didn't get too tall, but it grew. I got one blackberry off of it. But you know, I have a lot of different blackberry varieties, and so I thought, well, let me at least give triple crown a try. So I do have one out here, and it is, you know, we'll see what happens. So here we have lingonberry, gooseberry. Behind it we have some strawberries that I transplanted from runners. Here we have another lingonberry. There we have a very poor looking goji berry. Hasn't really done anything. We'll give it a little more time. And then right back there we have an autumn olive. There's another one right next to it. Very small, but they've grown quite a bit since I planted them. They were really tiny. Supposedly they taste really good. We will find out. So in this part of the tour, I want to show you my side garden, which is basically, you know, I have a lot of perennials, but this is where I plant the majority of my annuals. So in the corner there, I have a white currant that I planted. It's grown very nicely. Right next to that, I have two Marionberry canes that have just really exploded. This is all new growth that will fruit next year. This is my perennial strawberry bed. I got quite a few strawberries in the spring, quite a bit in summer, and then it really sort of slowed down after that. But again, perennial strawberry bed. I will get strawberries every year. I will start to grab runners. You can see them coming off on the side. As some of the strawberries get older, I'll replace them with runners, get new fresh ones in there, and I'll probably actually transplant quite a few runners in other places in the garden. I have a nice rosemary bush right here. It's about 3 years old. Behind that, I have some watermelons. Watermelons, I've had a hard time growing them here in the Pacific Northwest in Zone 8B. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I get a few. They're kind of small, but haven't had a ton of success. So this is pretty cool. This is actually my perennial herb garden. Here I have several chives, sage, lavender, another sage there to the side. That back there is all oregano, marjoram, and thyme. Behind that I have my perennial tree collards and also some longevity spinach. This bed here is just kind of starting out. I planted some more. These are garlic chives right there. Those are some regular chives that I planted the year before that came up. These here are supposedly sea kale, but they kind of look like dinosaur kale. We'll see what they end up being. The idea is sea kale is a perennial. I also have lots of little Egyptian walking onions popping up. I planted all throughout the garden cuttings from my purple perennial tree collards. You can see 2, 4, 6, 8. And then back there, some more established tree collards that I planted early in the spring. So this here is a thornless blackberry, black satin. Got two real nice canes that popped up, grew all summer. So those will fruit next year. This plant here is all new growth of tayberry. I have it all trellised up there. Down here I have boysenberry. Again, this is all new growth that will produce next year. If you look down below, I have one loganberry cane that has grown to probably 18 feet long, all along this trellis. You can see it growing all the way down here. I really like loganberries. They taste like a raspberry, but they produce really early in June, which is very nice. Here's my jostaberry bush. They have a very interesting flavor. This is 2 years old. It grows pretty vigorously here. I got a handful of jostaberries this year. I wasn't a big fan of their flavor, but they're a beautiful shrub, so we'll go ahead and keep it for now. These are my 2-year-old raspberry bushes right here. They've produced, it's the fall, so I'm getting my fall crop of raspberries, and I've been, there's a bee on that one right there, but I've been eating them and harvesting them, but they are beautiful. Down here, a different variety that hasn't started producing their fall crop yet. There's a few little ones on the ends, but these were obviously a earlier variety. So we're fortunate to be in an area where brambles, you know, the blackberries and some of the other berries grow really well, and the marionberries grow very well here. That's what these are right here. They are just, this is all new growth. We're going to get lots of marionberries next year. Look at that, very dense, lots of new canes. Just incredible. So I was fortunate when we bought this house that there was already two really big, nice, established blueberry bushes, and I don't even know what variety they are, but they just produce a ton of blueberries. You can see one right here. I mean, look at all this. They're just gigantic. And another one behind me right back over there, but they just produce, I mean, we are eating them once they start. It's like almost like I can't even keep up with it, but there is a ton of blueberries. So this has been really good for us. So these 3 beds right here are actually going to be my fall/winter garden, and I'm going to, here in a couple months, actually put a greenhouse over the top of these 3. You know, I've never had a greenhouse before, so it'll be interesting. I'm hoping I can get a continual harvest all winter. So let's take a little bit closer look. So right here in this bed I have some different varieties of kale. I have some red vein sorrel, which is a perennial. I have French sorrel, also perennial. I planted lovage, purslane, carrots, beets, and right here I have some more carrots and some lettuce. You can just barely see it popping up. Over here I have some early sprouting broccoli that I'm going to overwinter, and hopefully in the spring we'll get some broccoli, you know, popping out of the top of those. But down here I've planted several different varieties of spinach, and you can see them just popping up. So that'll be real nice here in the winter. I have leeks, cress, and on this side, minutina. And then supposedly these are supposed to be very winter hardy, which are mosh and claytonia. So this garden bed right here already has some really nice established purple perennial tree collards. I have some kale. Those are some Georgia collards that I chopped off way back in early summer, so it looks like we're going to get another harvest here in the fall. I have lots of other varieties of kale. There's right there, you have some lettuce, like I said, different kales, spinach, carrots, and some others. And all in those empty spaces I actually planted purslane and some different things in there just to sort of maximize the space. But again, all winter hardy. So I really hope you enjoyed the tour of my perennial food forest, the beginning of what's it's going to be. And I hope you come along with me on this journey of me documenting every step of the way. If you like this video, definitely like it, subscribe to the new channel, share it, whatever you can do. I'm going to continuously upload new videos showing you basically everything that I do. And again, this my food forest is it's only 2 years old, and there's every year it's going to get bigger and better, and I want to be able to show you every step of the way.